Ladies and gentlemen, what is good, y'all? It's the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary, and this is a special episode of Focus Fights Audio as well, we're a few days removed from Ryzen 52, but we're also 4 weeks away from their next show, which will be Ryzen Landmark 11 live on Ryzen.tv April the 12th. And well, first of all, let me go ahead and introduce my panel. Rising Zone out of France, Dean the Honey Badger Burley out of the great state of Colorado. And before we even begin to talk about the fight card, I mean, this kind of flew underneath our notice a bit because we didn't really pay much attention about it, but still, though, when it came down to the rule set for this fight card that happened, is this Ryzen event this past weekend was the first event to take place under Ryzen's new modified version of the 10-point must system, whereas the winner gaining 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or less based on effective striking, grappling, aggression, and ring control in that order. But Ryzen has a new 3D system to where they can basically reward fighters for, certain types of damage. First of all, Ryzen Zone, can you explain that?
Well, I'm not sure I understood everything,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, basically it's a combination of the two systems, the unified system and the one that were traditionally used by Ryzen. And if I got it right, it's the unified system which is first taken into account. So with the 3 rounds, 10-9, and if there's a draw on that matter, they will then go on to the second system with the 3D. And I think that's what we saw in this event was that damage were maybe not as much taken into account as before. If you think about fights like the Kate Lotus fight, I think that before her effective striking in the third round could have gotten her the win, but with this new rule, it's the global dominance, I'd say, of Oshima, which was taken into account and which won her the fight. So I think that it's a pretty big change, but I think it's a change that makes sense, and yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, we only got two decisions this time, so kind of a bit early to say if it's really for the best, but I think it's pretty good for now.
And Dean, considering the fact that there was 12 fights and 10 of those fights ended in a finish, I mean, I just got to ask from a standpoint, even though I know that you are very much accustomed to these unified rules as you fought twice under them, but still, though, considering the fact that out of the 10, out of these 12 fights, 10 of them finished. I mean, do you think that this new scoring system that Ryzen is under is going to make Ryzen fighters fight even harder to prevent fights from going to the judges?
Mm, that's a good question. I don't know if it'll. I mean, the old system, you could still win even if you lost the first 2 rounds. Now it's kind of taking the one unique thing. Well, not one unique thing, but one of the few unique things that this organization has. And it's kind of taking it away. It's making it like everything else. So I don't know if I love it. Um, Still, the rules as a whole through every league, they're moving more towards damage as the number one criteria. So I think that's in the right direction for sure.
So, in other words, you're saying that you ain't got to like it, you just got to get used to it.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna see it. I don't love the 10-point must system, but I think it works better for MMA than for boxing. But I liked when it was scored fight as a whole. You could have somebody turn on the pressure the last round if they knew they were behind, and they still had a chance. They weren't like down 2-0 where finish was their only option.
Oh, right, of course. Especially considering the fact that, again, you had 10 finishes on the card. About a good chunk of them have ended in the first two rounds. And Takashi is saying, Ohayo gozaimasu, as in good morning. How are you? We are doing fine, TK. I mean, we are doing fine, TF. We basically are happy to do this, but still, though, the point of the matter is when it comes down to the new scoring system, I originally thought it was going to be a bane for the fighters to have to go through because we've been so used to, pride style rules and pride style scoring and the fights being scored as a whole. But to be honest, I think this is probably going to lead to not a lot of change, but you're probably going to see a lot of aggressiveness going forward when it comes down to these fighters. Wouldn't you agree, Dean?
Yeah, you're gonna see them be aggressive anyway. It's Ryzen. They gotta.
Dean, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you still there? Did we lose Ryzen Zone?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, there he goes. He's back. I mean, this is the biggest opportunity of a lot of these guys' lives. So, they're gonna come scrap either way.
Oh my god, should I restart? Testing. Can either one of y'all hear me? Okay, good. So basically what I was trying to ask, can't unmute your guest because what the fuck? So Dean, can you still hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, so basically what I was asking is, will the new scoring system, see, I can't fucking think of my own words to say, but still though, what I was trying to ask is, will this new scoring system that Ryzen has basically lead to more aggressiveness from fighters? And
no.
Either one of y'all can chime in if that's okay, if y'all can't hear me.
It's not going to make a difference. The scoring system's fucking stupid, but they're still putting on good matches, and that's the most important thing.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god, maybe I need to restart myself.
Uh-oh. We lost him.
That's the live.
He's back.
Maybe it was just me that basically had issues. Hopefully we can just continue on with this without them. But still though, what I was trying to ask for now the third time is, considering this new scoring system, will fighters end up fighting a lot more aggressively from now on, considering they don't want their fights to go to the judges? Dean, you go first.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think they're still just going to fight hard because they're in Ryzen. I think that the new system's fucking stupid.
And Ryzen Zone, what say you?
Well, I can idea that's anyway like the promotion, so they are gonna go hard either way. But I think that's unified rules. I think it's good for the expansion of Rising at the international, for all the potential international shows. They need that in order to have better publicity and to be better recognized as a kind of legal promotion, even though they are, of course. But for the aggressiveness, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm holding my horses for now. I think it's not gonna do a big change. Maybe some fighters will have better facility to take control of the fight and to not seek for a finish. But at the same time, it's all very new. So I think, at least for now, the fighters, they wouldn't want to leave that in the judges' hands, and they're gonna push hard for the finish, as every rising fighter does, basically.
I see. And another thing that I can ask before we can go on to talking about the fight card itself is you saw the interaction that a lot of major names have given this promotion, like Aljamain, the Funkmaster Sterling, the former UFC bantamweight champion, complained, "No, Ryzen is too late to stay up for," but he was one of the main people to actually give a shit and watching it. And then you had Chris Cyborg, who was basically called all types of names in the book by Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey as of now yesterday, as of the time we're recording. But she still has an affinity for Ryzen. Dean, considering the fact that some of these major names are actually starting to give a damn about Ryzen, and I'm not talking about the bitch made punks like Crazy Kev who just used this shit for clickbait. But still, though, when it comes down to the major names, do you think that there's going to be a lot more interest from a fight fan standpoint for Ryzen going forward?
Yeah, I hope so. Well, one other fighter we saw was who's the Armenian guy that gets in like street fights all the time? Arman Sarukian. He's hilarious, bro. But he was giving him some love too, and I think that's all you have to do if you're trying to just get more marketing out there for yourself as a fighter. You just say, "Oh, hey, I'm checking this thing out. It's cool." It's just that interaction, the social clicks and interaction. You just find something cool and ask people if they're watching it. So it was cool to see the Funk Master, to see Armin just kind of showing up and giving some love to Ryzen, and I hope that hope they can make it more mainstream, because in Japan, I mean, you see they pan to people all the time. It's kind of like how UFC pans to the actors in the crowd.
Oh dear God! Don't even get me started with that bullshit. I mean, it's like they probably pay more to be there than anybody would be to be at their own premieres or some shit like that. And I'm not just saying that because the Oscars are this weekend. I'm just saying some of these people would rather be anywhere else but at a UFC show, especially when they get shown on camera. I mean, like, wouldn't you agree, Dean?
Yeah, who was that? Who was the actress they had, and she couldn't say Chuck Liddell's name right? It was like way back in the day, and they tried to like get her to say her picks. They had the guys from Korn doing their picks. Was it
Carmen Electra?
I think it was Juliette Lewis or somebody. It was like some mainstream film actress. But yeah, you could tell. They started asking them their picks and their predictions, and they started asking about submissions and shit. Like, no, just, hey, isn't this a cool event? Isn't it cool to be here? You're a celebrity. That's it. Don't ask them about fucking jujitsu and submissions. They're actors.
I mean, to be honest, it was probably either Julia Louis-Dreyfus or Julia.
It could have been. It wasn't my boy Black Belt Ashton Kutcher, that's for sure.
I mean, you could have gotten a better answer out of Mila Kunis, to be honest. But still, though, as this is flying all over Ryzen Zone's head because he probably never seen a foreign film in his life. But still, though, Ryzen Zone, now that I basically pointed my direction to you, what say you? Do you think that more international fan interaction leads to more growth for Ryzen?
Yeah, completely. I mean, it was of course because of page mix, but in France, for the first time, we got some major MMA medias. I mean, internet medias on X, covering is a big words, but reporting the results of Akimoto versus Mix, and this makes actually pretty big noise in the MMA community in France, and I feel like for the first time, Ryzen has really been heard in France. I mean, now they kind of know what it is, whereas before it wasn't the fact at all. So I think we're moving in the right direction right now, and I think that some French friends are starting to pop up here and there, and I think that truly we are on the path to international recognition for Ryzen.
I see. I see. Now, when it comes down to the results, let's go ahead and get right to those because, of course, as we played off of it before, 10 fights ended in a finish off of this 12 fight card. The main event of this fight card. And it's been getting a lot of controversy out here on this side of the Pacific because of how the fight ended. But Patrick Patchy No Love Mix ended up losing via soccer kick knockout to Kiyoma Akimoto, the Hunter, as Damian Beatdown Brown called him, and that nickname slaps officially. Anyways, the fight ended 37 seconds of round number 2. Akimoto knocks out Patrick via punches and soccer kicks after as Michael Schiavello said during commentary, a barrage of punches and strikes. But still, though, the point of the matter, Akimoto, who just turned 20 as of a couple of days ago this week, is now on the rise, and many people are saying that Patchy Mix is on the fall because now this is his third consecutive loss, and this is the first time that he's been beaten up in 35 fights. So, Dean, what say you? Do you think that Patchy go ahead here or just keep going?
Yeah, I saw a lot of hate for Patchy Mix, and I don't think there was a lot of like Akimoto fans or Mario Batista fans out there. I think it's really just the haters, the Dana White fanboys that like to shit all over any fighter when they lose. But still, people were talking about him. He was getting engagement, getting interaction. I don't really think he's like a heel type guy, like a Sabatello that talks trash, but because he was a champion in another league and came to UFC, I think some of that kind of low level marketing they do, it does kind of seep through to those fans.
Go ahead and I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, good. But still, though, it's like some of these fans just don't give a shit because they basically only watch the UFC and nothing else. They don't really care about what's going on with boxing. They don't really care about what's going on in professional wrestling for damn sure. All they care about is what's going on in the UFC and, who the bald father is basically kissing ass next, aside from, government officials. But still, though, point is, they only care about who went into the UFC, and if they left the UFC on bad terms and lose their next fight, they're automatically considered a bum. Do you think that type of rhetoric should stop? Dean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think people were just focused on that he lost and not that it was an incredible finish, really exciting fight. The Akimoto's, going to be a huge star. He had 13,000 people going crazy for him, and he was 19 years old. And not that it's UFC's fault, but it just where they're located, the types of arenas they book, you tend to have that like 9,000-10,000 seat arena, at least back when they used to go on tour, because that's what a lot of like the basketball and hockey arenas would hold. That's what makes Japan so special. They have these larger arenas. Really, outside of Europe, you don't really see anything like that. Europe and Australia, I think, were the only ones that can really match it. So just incredible what this kid was able to do, how he was able to get that many people losing their minds for him.
True, very true. And considering the fact that Rising Zone wants to talk, and I'm going to go ahead and give him the floor now, when it comes down to Akimoto's age, at the time of the win, he was basically 19 years old as of this past Sunday when the ass whooping happened. Well, actually, no, Saturday. But still, though, point is, Akimoto is now 20. The world is his oyster. do you think that he'll eventually get a title shot sooner rather than later, Rising Zone?
I mean, yeah, when it comes to Rising, I think Sakakibara already confirmed it that Akimoto is planned to fight for the title in December, I think, for New Year's Eve. And he said himself that he's gonna aim for one fight before that to be legitimate as a number one contender. And I think that he needs it also to level up a bit, because even though what he showed was extraordinary, I mean, we're talking about Shaidu Live here, so it's gonna be a bit tough. But yeah, I mean, doing what he does at 19-year-olds is absolutely insane. For those who went to the pain of watching UFC 326, you had another 19 years old fighter in the name of Raul Zas Jr., which is basically just, I mean, he's a meme fighter, but he's pretty decent. But still, is what he's shown was nowhere near both the fun and the level of what Akimoto showed on Saturday. So yeah, I think basically the sky's the limit for him. He wants to stay at Ryzen for now, and I think that's good because the promotion needs something like this, especially if Mikuru is gonna retire soon. So yeah, I think he's gonna be a great man.
I see. Especially considering the fact that right now, when it comes down to Akimoto, he would be considered the overall underdog when it comes down to winning. I mean, when it comes down to even being a part of this fight, if it were true that he would be facing off against Shadalayev next. But still, though, give him one more fight, let him get another finish like this, and we'll see if he gets the opportunity to prove himself, even as the overall underdog. You know. And before we continue, I just want to basically put over some comments. Takashi is saying, before the Yakimoto fight, I wanted to say one thing, that it would be nice if we can see the score sheet in each round, since now a dual round scoring system, the dual must scoring system is officially in effect. Well, I can basically tell you this. At the end of the first round, all three judges were going up against Patchy Mick. Well, actually, we're going for Akimoto 10-8. But because of the fact that Akimoto had his shorts grabbed by Patrick Mix, it was actually a 10-7 round. So, there's your judging analysis. But still, though, point is, Akimoto was winning on the cards because of how much damage he accelerated. Mostly because of the fact of that, not Mix basically grabbing his shorts. And then Kubrick is basically saying, hello, Mr. Host, you grab your shirt a lot. Well, hey, I'm eating, damn it. I'm basically trying not to sweat so much that my eyes would basically be hurting. But still, though, Kubrick is saying, I think this is the best Ryzen fight in many years. I mean, to be honest, Dean, would you say that this was a highlight looked at in December?
Yeah, this is great. This is incredible show, incredible way to kick off the year for him. It was a good show on paper, but man, it really lived up to the hype. Lots of good finishes.
Oh yeah, of course. And Ryzen Zone, I'm basically throwing this next comment to you. Takashi is saying people talk about internet and not how strong Akimoto is, rather than people talking about what Patty Mix has, any illnesses or pre-existing injuries. I mean, do you think that, in your opinion, that all the hype was warranted when it came down to this fight?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't really understood the question. Was the hype warranted?
Yeah, basically, a lot of people said that. I mean, we said that Mex was gonna at least last 2 rounds. Akimoto basically shattered that notion in 6 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the big points that a lot of people are pointing out was that Patchy Mix actually choose to stay on the feet for most of the round, and people say that it was a stupid decision. I think it was a bit of an ego trip. I think his choose, he wanted to show what you could do on the feet, especially since it's lacking points on its last two fights. And I think that actually it was just swarm, couldn't react to Akimoto's speed. And by the time he wanted to go back to his bread and butter, which is the grappling, well, it was too damaged, and Akimoto's distance management was too good by then to succeed in a takedown. So just magnificent play by Akimoto. A lot of people also mentioned that, I mean, Mix was kind of humping after the fights. Looks like he had some kind of trouble with his legs, despite not receiving many low kicks. So
To be honest, Rise Stone, I think that's what happens when you take a big hit and you start to, and I hate to use this term, but start to spaz out a bit.
yeah, I think that's the discovery of the soccer kicks also was a pretty big thing for him, and the takedown he attempted were more like panicky than anything, and that's why he couldn't let them. But yeah, no, just you can't take anything away for Akimoto for this performance, man. Same in France. A lot of people only focusing on Pachi suck anyway. He's just down now. He need to retire. But I think Pachi is still a good fighter. He couldn't show what his main points were, what his strong points were. But I think he's still a good fighter, and I think Akimoto beating him is a big thing, and it's a big statement.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Now let's go ahead and continue on to talk about the rest of the fight card. Now that we basically got everybody got the first and second win together, let's go ahead and talk about the co-main event now. And the co-main event was Luis Killer Gustavo shattering the legend, or supposed legend, of Saku Jr., Taisei Sakuraba, knocking out the son of Kazushi 2 minutes and 32 seconds of round number 2 via TKO right hook. And according to the Tapology faithful, they basically said 78% said they wanted to see a Gustavo knockout. I mean, to be honest, who could blame him? But still, though, we kind of seen this coming. Gustavo came in as the veteran and the overall favorite when it came down to this, or the moderate favorite if you actually are a degenerate gambler. But still, though, Gustavo came in, better record, better overall outlook when it comes to MMA. Saku was only in his fourth fight. Dean, when it comes down to this particular fight and the way how it finished, do you think that Gustavo really did Wanderlei Silva's legacy a solid?
I mean, he did. He won the fight. He won by knockout. But Saku Jr. looked good, and Gustavo looked like he had some ring rust. It might have been too much too soon for Taisei Sakuraba, but he hung in there. He was brave. He showed some good skills. He showed some good striking that I wasn't really expecting his striking to be that level. His kicks to be really good, and he was okay in the brawls. He welcomed him. He was courageous in the brawls, even though he took some damage. And I wonder if that damage he took to his eye maybe impaired his vision, because he wasn't knocked out in the wild exchanges. He was knocked out later when they were exchanging, sniper shots from distance. So maybe his vision could have been compromised, but it was definitely a tough opponent for him. I think he's always going to be a fun draw. He'll bring some, put some butts in seats. So they just need to get him some easier matches, to be honest. Send Ryzen Zone out there to lose to him, get the crowd all hyped.
Ryzen Zone? No. I think they need to send you out there to face him.
But gladly, man. I would gladly sacrifice myself for Saku Jr. to get the win. I mean, if it can get him back on the winning track, I'm ready to get KO'd. I'm ready to get submitted. Everything, man. But no, Saku, yeah, it was a shame. I was really rooting for him. And but yeah, he still looked good in these fights. Very entertaining as always. Maybe didn't search for wrestling and takedown as much as I thought he would have, but yeah, no, very entertaining performance. But I think that yeah, he needs to step down a bit the level of his competition, especially since he got his jaw broken. I mean, his two loses were by finish, even though against Nakamura it was a submission. I think they need to put him against a not very dangerous opponent. Maybe someone like Captain Africa, Shuntaro Debana, which is not the most dangerous, especially in the striking. So yeah, I think they need him to let him cultivate a bit more, grow his striking responsibility, especially defensively, and his offensive wrestling, and then I think he will be very good. I think he can go maybe on a run later.
I see. And considering the fact that you are now speaking Rising Zone, I just gotta ask. We saw, or at least some of us seen, video from Ilkan Nazimov, the new Rising lightweight champion, basically seeing what that fight had in store. And Luis Gustavo also said some things about how he wants to get a title opportunity. I mean, what does Luis Gustavo's future hold with the power that he's shown in this fight? I mean, do you think that it could lead to a fight with Nasimov?
I think it could, yeah. I mean, Gustavo is always entertaining. Of course, there's also the fact that he's the protege of Silva, so there's always gonna push him for it. Already a bit of drama boiling between the two of them, as you said, and yeah, I think especially if Satoshi is not gonna come back soon, which he apparently is not gonna do. I think a little title shot for Gustavo would be good. I think it would be a great striking battle. I think Nozimov take it. Maybe not a first round, as you said, but I think it would be a very good fight. Not too difficult for him. But yeah, you really need to keep him active because I mean Nozimov is on a streak right now, insane finishing streak, highlight reel scale each time. So you need to get him busy, and I think that Gustavo is a good opponent for this.
I see. Dean, what say you? Do you think that Gustavo deserves a shot at Ilkan Nazimov next?
I mean, he's lost to. He's at least competed with a lot of the talent in their lightweight division. Um, they could do a non-title fight. I mean, they don't have any problem doing those stupid non-title fights, so why not? That'd be a real fun one to keep them both active. Um, it's
Yeah, but
hard because he lost to Nomura, and he was set to get the title shot, then got injured. So there's becoming like a logjam of these guys that he's lost to. But yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, it's a fresh match for him. He's fought everybody else. He's a perennial top contender. So yeah, let's do it. Be a fun fight.
yeah, but here's the thing. We saw what happened when it comes down to non-title fights in Ryzen, at least early on when you had Kyoji Horiguchi versus Kaion Sakura, and look how that shit turned out. ACL tear, out for a year for Horiguchi, of course. But still, though, not everybody can fight like Seika Izawa now when it comes down to these non-title fights. I just think that if you put Gustavo versus Nazimov in a non-title opportunity, you're really basically screwing over the fans who just want to see a top champion defend his belt against a top challenger rather than just, oh, here's the belt, here's the champion. We're just going to have him not defend the title and see if the other guy can prove that he wants to be there. It's just stupid to me. I mean, you got anything to add to that, Dean?
No, for sure. I mean, the non-title fights kind of are stupid, but if it's a way to, make an exciting match that we otherwise normally wouldn't get, yeah, I can see like this is a time you could use it. Or shit, just give him the title shot. That way, if he wins, you don't have to do like a weird rematch or something.
True. Very true. Mm. But still, though, when it comes down to, I'm sorry, I'm eating with my mouth full. I shouldn't be doing that. But still, though, when it comes down to Gustavo, you can definitely say he is one of the top lightweight competitors in Rising, correct, Dean?
Always, he's been one of the top guys for years. He always will be as long as he's still active and at the same level.
Okay, just wondering because I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's only going to be a matter of time before he even reaches a championship fight. It's like you said, I just hope it's not in a stupid non-title fight where he just basically is fighting for nothing. Now, Rising Zone, do you want to basically say anything about this fight before we move on?
Not really. I think that yeah, if they can't organize the title shot around it, I mean they can do a non-title shot, but I think, of course, putting the bait on the line would be great. And otherwise, I mean, maybe a rematch with Aurier if he wins his next fight against Pitbull. That could be a nice number one contender fight, especially since it would be a fresh matchup between either one of them against Nozimov. So yeah, I mean both options are possible.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. And now let's go ahead and move on to the chief support of this fight card. Ryo Takagi defeating Shuya Kimura via doctor stoppage due to an excessive. I mean, help me out a little bit. Was it an excessive eye poke or was it just overall cutting? Dean, Rising Zone?
I don't even know what happened. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but it could have been. It looked like a punch. They didn't really show. They showed other replays, but they didn't really show like a clear replay of if he got poked in the eye or not. But I think we'd seen enough of that one. I don't really care to see a rematch. We can just let both guys move on. You know, Ryo Tagaki's actually got a pretty good record in Ryzen now. He's established himself, so I wouldn't mind seeing him, move up. And Kimura's dropped 3 in a row, so we might see him go back to Gladiator. Maybe Seguro Knees also on a losing streak. Could be an exciting fight. But yeah, I don't think there's a reason to match these guys up again.
I see. And Rising Zone, since we want to basically continue on and talk about this fight, by the way, the fight ended via doctor stoppage at the end of round number 1 after 5 minutes have elapsed. I mean, when you seen this fight go down, what were your overall thoughts about it?
Well, this was not what I was expecting. Personally, I thought that Takagi would put a bit more pressure on the feet, would try to maybe throw a bit more volume, and I thought that Kimura would get him with a counter. But what we saw from this fight is that Kimura is not as comfortable on the feet when he's the one who's got the pressure, when he's the one who's gonna attack and create the opportunities. We saw that on the front foot, he's a bit more hesitant. He tried some entries, some boxing combinations. Some of them connected, but nothing really clear. The only clear and significant strikes were landed by Takagi. But then again, it was like just straight rights at a distance. And yeah, didn't make real significant damage except from the eye poke / swollen eye. But yeah, I think, as Dean said, not really a rematch we want to see. Wasn't the most entertaining fight. So maybe Kimura. Maybe if they absolutely want to keep him fighting in Rising, they can give him like a Ken to KO, like someone who rush. Maybe I don't know if Ashizawa is fighting in breaking down now. So I don't know if Catfish want to maybe move up in weight to get KO. I think it would be a good fight, would be an entertaining fight. But yeah, I mean, they gotta start give Takagi some more credit, man. Even though it's not on the most entertaining streak, it's a good win streak nonetheless. And yeah, I think they gotta keep pushing, this kid, man, because he's good. He's good.
Okay. So I guess we can officially move on because nobody wants to talk about this fight anymore. But still, though, we can officially move on, and I can officially say, late notice doesn't mean shit if you don't come prepared. I mean, this fight was originally supposed to be, and we're now basically talking about the after intermission closer, part one, so to speak, out of four. But still, though, the lower third of the card basically was supposed to kick off with Kazuki Aimoto versus Viktor Kolesnik. Unfortunately, Aimoto was involved in a car accident, and now he's going to see some considerable amount of time on the shelf because of it. In came Koji Takeda. Many people thought he was going to lose. I thought he was going to lose by just voting against him on SofaScore. But still, though, even though Takeda lost that first round against Kolesnik, and he was almost on the verge of being finished in that first round, he really persevered and showcased his madness, so to speak. He shown in the second and third rounds that he was going to be a tough out to follow, and he got the win via unanimous decision over a very game Viktor Kolesnik, who probably was just as confused as who he was fighting, rather than wondering if he was even going to get the opportunity to fight somebody similar to Ayamoto. So now, Dean, that I basically spent all my time talking about that, what were your overall thoughts when the fight got changed up, and how Takeda persevered in this fight?
Man, I was really impressed that he even took the fight on that short notice. It was like a day or 2 days or something. I mean, it was incredible.
It was right at the Reed show.
Yeah, is really incredible stuff by Takeda, and then he, I think he really won over the audience with that level of effort and just the performance he put on. You could tell they really appreciated it. So I think he stole a lot of Kolesnik's shine. We just assumed he was there just to lose as a last minute replacement, and he ended up getting the win himself, which was pretty cool. And might, as Dan Hooker would put it, snake the fight from him and maybe get that Aimoto fight when he comes back, or just take his spot in the rankings and move up in Kolesnik's place.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. How are you going to take a spot in the rankings when it was never existing to begin with?
Sure, but like just the hierarchy of, I think Kolesnik's kind of fallen a little bit now. He was fighting for the title. Now he's lost a couple in a row, including, a guy who maybe we don't even know if he was preparing for a fight. So when Aimoto comes back, is that even a fight that anyone cares to see, or is something like that going to pass him by?
I mean, come to think of it, he just turned 30 as of the time of this recording. I mean, you got to think, when you are in your 30s, and I should know this for a fact, when you're in your 30s, you start to slow down a bit. You start to lose that edge. I mean, in the case of Kolesnik, this is now loss number 2 back-to-back of him losing between this fight and the Shedalaya fight that happened. I mean, you got to think that this dude could be losing his fastball, but, do you think that he just needs a bounce-back fight?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen, though. Like, even if he gets a bounce-back fight, it's going to be against somebody that's, maybe not as big of a name, or doesn't have as many wins. So it's definitely a step back for him for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. And Rising Zone, I don't want to leave you out on this, but when it came down to the fight being changed, all the way up to the result of the fight in general, what were your overall thoughts when you heard that Koji Takeda was replacing Kazuki Aimoto and eventually defeated Victor Kolesnik?
Well, I counted him out. I mean, like everybody, I was just saying, oh shit, lost Kazuki. Now it's gonna be just Kolesny quick KO. But yeah, I was surprised, man. And what a monster he is. I mean, 36 hours. You take the fight and you make the weight. But I think that's what this fight really showcased is just the sheer difference in conditioning and stamina between a striking background and a wrestling background. Because Takeda was the one pressuring, he was the one putting the work there, and he just out cardio Kolesnik. I mean, Kolesnik by the end of the second round, he was completely gassed, could only try to escape, be on the back foot, and Takeda just continued pushing it and pushing it. His last explosion, his last acceleration at the end of the round three, with the quick takedown, little ground and pound there. I mean, it was the extra effort, and it did really cost him a lot because he just threw it afterward. But yeah, I think he Takeda just it was a great look, and Kolesnik he lost a lot of his stocks for sure. And I think that's especially cardio wise because he was the fighter prepared. I mean, he was prepared to face more of a striker, of course, and he was involved in in a lot of wrestling. And as we know, when you're fighting in the domain that you're not used to, you're gonna tired. You're gonna get tired more quickly. But still, it was a bad look. But I think they're gonna give him bounce back fights. Maybe I mean the best he can hope hierarchy wise is a revenge against Takagi. I think, but otherwise it's gonna be yeah quick quick can to KO. I don't think they want to give the rematch. They want to give sorry Aimoto another shot at Kolesnik because he just now lost basically all his relevance rankings wise. So I think that's Aimoto is gonna get maybe a better ranked opponent, maybe a Takeda as you said, maybe a Suzuki, someone he can dance with, exchange in the pocket. But yeah, it's a shame for Kolesnik, but shit happens, man. He will come back better.
Yeah, of course, shit does happen. And Takashi's now saying that Shigeru Seiki, the CEO of Deep Fighting Championship, is saying that Kazuki Aimoto is now mentally unstable as he had been in the hospital for a few days since that car accident. So, unfortunately, he is unable to see, let alone respond to the general public. I mean, I just hope that he gets the help that he needs mentally and physically so that he can eventually come back not as a fighter, but as a better person, make better decisions.
Yeah, I sure hope so. But I mean, when you have a guy as intense as him, of course, from, from what we saw, there's like a very, very wild guy, very, very tense, and shit. And yeah, it was his beginning on the big stage. So of course he put lot of expectations on that, and not being able to do it, plus maybe having the reputation of maybe being a quitter, even though I don't think anybody is thinking that. But yeah, that's gotta affect him mentally. Plus the aftershock from the car accident, I think is gonna be a tough step to walk. But I think he's gonna come back.
Yeah, I hope he does come back because, it would be really sad to see such a young name like Aimoto, Kazuki Aimoto, you know, end up having one mental relapse fuck his entire life up. But still, though, now that we basically talked about the happy and sad of the fourth to last fight, we can officially almost reached the halfway point by talking about the literal Davita versus Goliath fight that happened. And in this case, it was the little giant Saori Oshima proving her name well, getting a big win over the now near 500 or slightly over 500 Kate Lotus Oyama. That was a unanimous decision win for Oshima. All three judges scored the fight for Oshima, I think 30-27. But still, though, point is 4 feet 11-inch Saori Oshima has pretty much proven that she is worthy of that nickname. I mean, yeah, I made the height joke, Michael Schiavello saying she can milk a cow standing up at all of 4 feet 11 inches tall or 149 centimeters, but still don't. You can't outlast, well, actually, you can't basically doubt her way that she won this fight. Dean, how about you mention a lot? I mean, Dean, what would you say was probably the biggest thing that led to Oshima, as little as she is, winning this fight against Kate Lotus?
Yeah, it's you know, obviously like the reach and the height difference is there, but when you're a wrestler, when you're looking for takedowns, having your hips below your opponent's hips is like a hack to you've got that avenue for the takedown. So for her to take a taller opponent down, I wasn't really surprised by that. I was actually more impressed that she didn't get the submission, because that's what she's known for, that Kate Lotus was able to defend a little bit and slow her attack on the ground and do as well as she did. Actually, I thought, even though I predicted Kate to lose, she hung in there well on the ground and was able to not really be threatened or have any close submissions put on her.
True. And I mean, to be honest, considering the height disadvantage played more to Oshima, it really helped her out in getting out of those tricky submission attempts, right?
Yeah, that makes it kind of a little bit. Those body style difference made it a little bit tougher, but it was such a close range fight with a lot of takedowns. I don't know how the Rising Brass is going to feel about it, if they're really going to, want to reward her for kind of just hanging on for the decision like that, or if they'll give her a tough opponent or like a no-name opponent.
By no-name opponent, you mean somebody like Nick Dolly, Rivera, Calano?
Are you on her OnlyFans right now?
No.
Like I see the tab up on your computer, man.
Hell. I mean, I'm not even gonna. I mean, I know Andrew Benjamin basically wants me to get off of that stuff, but still, though, I shouldn't basically be horn dogging, so to speak, trying to get on fighters' OnlyFans pages just to try and, coerce them to interviews, I tried doing that with Cassie Robb. It did not go well. But still, though, point of the matter is you're right. This should lead to Kate Lotus. I mean, and Kubrick is saying, I think Kate Lotus was the easy winner because of the aggressive strikes. Yeah, what fight you were watching, pal? But still, though, point of the matter is that Kate basically let herself get easily manipulated. I mean, yeah, she had a 6-inch height advantage, but she basically could have used all that reach and all that height to stop her smaller opponent. She didn't. And now she's in the position where she is at. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, she should have used those tools maybe a little better, to kind of like she did in her last fight, just keep the fight at distance and pick her shots. Yeah, I don't think she had the smartest fight IQ in this one, but I think it opens a lot of doors up. There were fighters that I never thought she could hang with before that, now that she shows she can defend a little bit on the ground, I could see like someday her fighting some of the more experienced fighters in Rising.
I mean, you're saying that it'll only be a matter of time before Oshima fights more experienced fighters, or Kate?
No, I think Kate's got some upside. I think we saw some improvements with her ground defense that, if she were to ever fight like an Ayaka Hamazaki or something someday, before this fight, I'd be like, no way, she's going to get thrashed, she's going to get submitted. But now I see like, okay, maybe there'll be a day where she can be competitive in those kind of fights.
Oh, understood. I mean, it'll only be a matter of time. Maybe she just needs to go back to Deep Jewels and fight more Hammondacres. I mean, Hammondacres mean jobbers, so to speak, but still, though. Point is, I think that it would be best for Kate Lotus to go back to the drawing board, continue to fight, lower level talent in Deep Jewels and pad her record up a bit more like a training brawl. But still, though, Rising Zone, now that I have you and I don't want to leave you feeling left out about this, what were your overall thoughts about Kate Lotus easily losing this fight to Saori Oshima?
It was not expected. I mean, I thought that Oshima would win, but I thought that Kate would put a bit more pressure and a bit more danger on the feet. I mean, as Dean said, we saw in her last fight, she got these tips, especially to keep her distance. She got this fluid striking, and she didn't use none of that. I mean, she was just very passive and didn't really throw much. Maybe she feared the clinch. I don't know, but she had just too much occasions for Oshima to close the distance. And basically, not the most entertaining fights for sure. I mean, at least we got some beautiful judo trips from Oshima. But part of that wasn't the best. I mean, Kate had some good elbows off her back. I thought it was interesting and a good defense against submissions, as you already said. But it was not the best look for both of them, especially as both are very advocating against the kind of misconceptions. I mean, not misconceptions, the stereotypes about women MMA as a bathroom break and all that. This wasn't the best counter argument, but I mean, I think it's still a good fight for Oshima. She proved she can. She still got it. I think they can give her maybe the winner against Amazaki and Kuzutina to get maybe.
Yeah, that's her last name, Kuzutina.
Kuzutina, yeah, I wasn't sure. So yeah, maybe they can that, and maybe then match against Aizawa, even though I don't think she can do it, but I don't think anyone can do it for that matter. But Kate needs some more experience. Keep her record positive as much as possible. And but I mean, anyways, I think Kate Lotus, she's good. She's gonna bet maybe a bit better, but anyways, she's still gonna be a main draw for obvious reasons, and I think she's still gonna get Resin is still gonna keep her around, give her some big names, and I think she's good. Give out entertaining fights when she's on the feet. So yeah.
Okay, couldn't have said it better myself. Now let's go ahead and move on to the literal midway point of the fight card. Now that we've basically gotten done talking about the little giant beating her big challenger, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about a guy in Yuki Ito who, surprisingly, as elegant as his entrances are, I mean, obviously, you can obviously tell I'm a big fan of Hikaru Utada, and anybody that comes out to a Hikaru Utada song is instantly, I mean, my favorite fighter in that book. But still, though, when it comes down to Yuki Ito, he has really proven that he can be, a key figure in the rising 125-pound or even 135-pound weight divisions, as he knocked out former UFC veteran, current Knockout Unlimited champion Carlos Mota Tizio 2 minutes 27 seconds, round one, straight right hand and grounded punches. I mean, that really stunned me because after seeing all those knockout fights that Mota had, I really thought that he was going to come in with the win, but I guess I was wrong. But still, though, when it comes down to Yuki Mota, this was his first knockout win since November of 2024. Now, I'm just wondering, Dean, who will he face next?
Yeah, what a chin on this guy, man. I thought they did him kind of dirty in that Grand Prix. Uh, just a weird number of participants in that Grand Prix, so he got like fan voted out. But maybe somebody else that was in there if Olivet gets Gatsmatov, Gatshamatov, excuse me, it comes back to Ryzen. Maybe a Shorty Torres if he's gonna stay at that weight. Maybe Yuki Matoya. That's a step up to fight Yuki Matoya, but
Dean say that the fight next. He doesn't care who. He probably wants. He just wants to be a part of Ryzen's future plans. Do you think that a fight between Ito and Torres would fit the bill?
I always like Torres better at that weight, and maybe the fact that the Ito's down for like a 130-pound catch weight would probably entice Shorty Torres, so that way he doesn't have to go all the way back to flyweight again.
Understood. Especially considering the fact that, if they do move up to bantamweight, which is 135 pounds, or 134 and a half if you follow Ryzen's strict weight requirements, that would be a good fight either or at 130 or 135 pounds. But still, though, now that I'm basically, talking about this fight, let's just say this. In Ryzen Zone, I'll get to you in a moment. But, Dean, considering that this was Carlos Mota's first fight in about 3 years now, let's give or take. The last fight he had was against the last MMA fight he had was against an above average fighter named Cody Durden, who just lost over the weekend in the UFC, by the way, to a Mongolian fighter whose name I will not repeat easily. But still, though, do you think that Carlos should get a second look in Ryzen, even though he's starting to find his niche in knockout?
Yeah, absolutely. He's his style's made for Ryzen, and he was looking good early. I think just the chin of Yuki Ito was looking very good. But yeah, why not? If you're gonna try to put over your domestic talent, your Japanese fighters, keep booking Mota against different Japanese fighters. He's gonna be a entertaining guy. They could keep him around for some time.
Yeah, that could probably be a chance that, and we will basically talk about this a little later, there's probably a big chance that Mota could have as dynamic a finish as Tony Laramie got on this card. But still, though, who knows? Now, Ryzen Zone, since obviously you don't really know much about either fighter, especially not Mota, even though he fought once in the UFC, what say you? What were your overall thoughts about this
Just
fight?
gonna say, always bet on Ito if it stays on the feet. I was expecting him to win on the feet. Mota could have been a threat if it went to the ground, but it didn't happen. But I was actually very surprised that, and I think that Mota was too, that Ito threw a high kick, and that's how he got him hobbled. Because we saw that Mota in his past performance, he's been very good at taking his opponents to the ground after catching their kicks. So I didn't think that Ito was gonna play that game, but he did, and it paid off for sure. When it comes to future opponents, I think that's Gazamatov would be a great choice. I think that now Ryzen is kind of knows what to do with Ito. Just put him against strikers, get some bangers, fight on hard contenders. Then when it comes to when he start to stepping up a bit, you put him against like a guy who basically knows how to do a takedown, and then he lose, and then you can put him in entertaining fights again. And I mean, I think that Gazamatov, yeah, he could take him to the ground, but I think if the two stayed on fit, it would be a banger fight for sure. When it comes to Carlos Mota, of course, you absolutely have to give him another shot. Just very entertaining from what he showed, and I mean, maybe I'm a bit harsh on the poor guy, but maybe giving him Soya would be a it would be a great fight. I think. I mean, it would be a third cow in a row for Soya. Sadly, I think, but I think yeah, both of them could produce banger fights.
I see. So, Dean, now that Rising Zone has basically said, who should Takaki Soya face off against next? Do you agree that a fight between Takaki Soya and Carlos Mota Tazio would be worth watching compared to the Soya fight that just happened, which was basically a shit? Well, actually, what I meant was the Takagi Kimura fight. But still, though, we'll talk about what am I trying to say? I'm basically losing train of thought here, damn it. But still, though, do you think that Carlos Mota versus Takaki Soya should be the next fight to make, even though Soya got his ass whooped by TJ Laramie, which we will talk about a little later?
Yeah, I've got that one written down actually as a possible next fight for both those guys. Maybe Hiroya against Carlos Mota wouldn't be too bad, but yeah, I think Soya against either any of the fighters that lost around that weight on this show, Mota, Joe Arai would be an exciting stand up fight, and you match two strikers together, even if they're coming off a loss, you could still get an exciting finish. Help build up an undercard for one of the events.
And you know what? Speaking of, we've reached the halfway point of this fight card, at least the literal halfway point. I mean, here's the thing. Ryzen has, in addition to next month's card in Fukuoka, they got 3 more events after that. Ryzen 53, May 10th from G Lion Arena in Kobe, Hyogo, Japan. Ryzen Landmark 14 in Sendai, Miyagi, Japan on June 6th, which only makes sense because they were supposed to have gone to Sendai back in 2020 before the world went crazy. And then Ryzen Landmark 15 on July 18th in Hiroshima at the Hiroshima Green Arena First Arena. And all those will probably lead to a possible Super Rising card in August. At least I think that's the case. But when it comes down to these 4 upcoming shows, I mean, you got guys like Vitaly Shimatov, Sergey Shimatov, Jose Shorty Torres, who we already mentioned, and even former UFC and PFL veteran Mads Burnell wanting to be a potential part of Bryson. I mean, with these shows coming up, I mean, do you think it'll be the right time for any international fighters or any fighters in general to get opportunities to fight on these shows? I mean, except for the upcoming show that's coming up next month, of course. Dean, what say you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a smart way to kind of book their Japanese stars against these international free agents. We saw that with the Apache Mix fight. You got a guy that we were wondering could he handle this? Could Akimoto headline a show this big? And now he's huge. So if they keep signing good international competition, they've already got these established fighters they can have fight them. And Ryzen loves that high risk, high reward way to book their domestic talent. So yeah, why not?
I see. Ryzen Zone, what say you?
Yeah, I think that seems to be kind of the theme of this year for Ryzen. All this World War that they publicize, And I think it's great. I mean, international fighters want to fight in Rising. Rising wants to have international fighters, both for credibility, for level, also to publicize to Western audience. And I think it would be great when it comes to fighters fighting in the upcoming shows. I think that's you put. I think that they will put like established fighters, like maybe the Shemetov brothers and the Torres, in like Rising 53, and then fighters like Burnell, who didn't really fought in Rising yet, they will try to put him in like the main cards of the Sendai shows and Hiroshima shows, because to make them know to Japanese audience, putting them against some top Japanese names. But yeah, I think it's a great thing for Rising, for the organization, for the international fighters themselves, because I mean it looks like a dope experience fighting in Rising. So yeah, I mean, very excited for that, and let's see what happens.
I see. That's understandable. And to be honest, I do think and I do agree that they should boost up their international offerings a bit more. I mean, let's just face it right here. They probably need to score more of these international fighters, especially now that, and I know this will piss off Dean more than it will you, Rising Zone, because you live in France, probably don't get a lot of streaming services as is, but now most valuable promotions and Netflix are about to make a play with this big card that they got coming up at the end of May, I think, with Rousey and Carano, and then you got Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins, which, to be honest, nobody wants to watch heavyweight MMA now that we know that the Rising Heavyweight Grand Prix was such a shit show. But do you think that it's going to probably lead between MVP and Netflix, and even more so Eddie Hearn with Tom Aspinall and 600 fighters wanting to beat down the doors of that? Do you think it's going to probably lead to more competition for Ryzen to deal with as the year progresses? Ryzen's on you first.
Well, actually, I think it would be maybe the opposite. I think that's all this Netflix apparatus is mostly going to be a competition to the UFC, and it's just going to show by putting big names like Rousey and Ganu that yeah, UFC is not the only one to propose high level MMA, and I think that's going to globally encourage some peoples to from that and get maybe a tad bit of maybe a little spill of that diversifying audience. So yeah, I think it's actually pretty good news for Ryzen.
I see. And Dean, what say you? I mean, keep in mind, you grew up or you grew older in the age of Strike Force, and this year or this week in particular marks 20 years since Strike Force, the last true great competitor to the UFC, first started its run, even though it was only 5 years. But still, though, the same question applies to you, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, like Ryzen was never going to afford like a Francis Ngannou or a free agent of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's you know they're looking now. You've got MVP looking to scoop up heavyweights who leave the UFC, or in this case, a light heavyweight who left to fight him. So it is another player in the market, but yeah, I think that's a smart take by Ryzen Zone that it's just going to show that there's other leagues out there. There's other places to go, and when you only have one other place to go, then they can kind of lowball you. When you have multiple offers, now the number two has to actually make a good offer. So I think it'll spur global competition a little bit. And UFC hasn't really been on their game lately, so maybe we will get to see kind of a new era of a little bit better competition and less of a monopoly.
Well, that, and considering the fact that John Bones Jones wants to be released from the UFC because of the whole independent contractor versus overall employee thing, you're going to probably want to see a lot more of these fighters want to test their creative freedom, so to speak. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that is how the American law works. So if you believe in law and order, then you have to let a contractor be a contractor. Otherwise, you need to make them an employee, and you pay taxes when you pay them, and you pay them health care and shit like that. So as long the UFC's been double dipping for a long time against the American legal code uh, by having employees that they just call contractors, so they don't have to pay taxes. It's just kind of a loophole. If you were a roofer and I said you can only do my house and you can't roof anybody else's house, I know the state of Colorado would step in and say you can't say shit like that. Nevada's maybe a little bit slow to it, but that's the reality. It should be like boxing, where if somebody makes a better offer, you could lose that fighter to that other promoter who's willing to pay that contractor or put on a really good card. And we've seen what happens with the monopoly and the kind of lack of quality of shows lately. I mean, look at the show they're putting on this weekend. Can you name anybody besides the main event that's fighting?
Hell no.
So yeah, it'd be nice. Do I really think John Jones wants to do business with anyone else? No, I think it's just a negotiating tactic. But long term, I hope Eddie Hearn can get the fighters the money they deserve, or help spur some global competition.
I mean, it's only going to be obvious considering the fact that, Eddie Hearn and Dana White are at each other's throats. But Eddie Hearn, as of right now, ain't really doing much as far as, overall competition goes. He's just trying to give fighters the right negotiating tactics to maneuver around Dana's crooked bullshit. But still, I mean, you can go ahead and speak, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what all those fighters want, but you've got guys like Jones and Aspinall and all these guys who want to fight. And it's like, how is this? Just if you take his ego out of it, if you take Dana away, any other promoter's going to, if they have, those two under contract or the chance to sign Francis, there's 3 big fights you can make right there. And it's just kind of a shame that we may never get any of those fights. They may just squat on their contracts forever or do these stupid negotiating tactics forever. If this was, if Scott Coker had a chance to sign Francis Ngannou and Alex Pereira and John Jones and Tom Aspinall, he'd be making those fights instantly.
Well, yeah, of course he would. But to be honest, who's really going to stop? Well, I mean, who's really going to stop Dana White in this day and age? I mean, we all know damn well that Nobuyuki Sakaki Bar can only do so much. But still, though, we'll just have to wait and see. And by the way, Takashi is saying that the tickets for Rising Landmark 13 in Fukuoka sold out within 24 hours. So at least that's a good sign that Rising can continue to prove that quality and quantity can go well together instead of just putting mediocre ass fight cards in a fucking basement or, in a warehouse, which is exactly what the Meta Apex is.
Yeah, as bad as it sounds, like, I'm not a huge Jake Paul fan, but he has money from other endeavors, and he's willing to spend that money to piss Dana White off. So I'm all for that part of it. It's not like Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey isn't going to make money. The general public, it takes them so long to, like as a singer or a movie star, it takes so many years to establish yourself. You're definitely out of your physical prime by the time the general public in America knows who you are. They all tuned in for a Mike Tyson fight last year. Mike Tyson's like 60 years old, but they're used to actors who are on that longer term. You realize by the time you realize somebody's famous, they're probably way past their physical prime.
Some of them are probably way past their mental prime too. Let's be real. Now, Rising Zone, before we move on through the rest of the card, I just want to continue to. I mean, do you basically have any closing thoughts about this?
I mean, yeah, not really. I mean, speaking of Landmark 13, I don't know if we're gonna talk about it more deeply later, but yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by the Quick Soldat because this card is absolutely stocked in a fucking dope CD. Fukuoka is great, and yeah, I mean, it's just huge name value on that card, but also a very, very, very good maybe prospects or at least potential interesting talents for raising to poach. And yeah, I think it's gonna be an absolutely great card. Possibly more stacked than Rising 52 actually, especially since we got some very good kickboxing fights. Big kickboxing star in the person of Tayo Asahisa. So yeah, I think this card is gonna be great, and I'm not surprised that it's all better than Rising 52.
Understood, understood. Especially considering, not a lot of people are going to give a fuck about kickboxing, especially on this side of the Atlantic, in your case. But still, though, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will pay attention to what Ryzen is doing, regardless of what fights they put on, especially with the next card having all that talent they got. I mean, we'll briefly preview that as soon as we get done talking about this. But let's go ahead and continue getting back on track and talking about the countdown. Well, actually, no, talking about the first 6 fights of this fight card. And let's go ahead and talk about the pre-intermission fare. And that is the case of Jinosuke Kashimura getting the torch physically passed to him from Little Volcan Hideo Tokoro, the human octopus. 1 minute, 6 seconds. Submission due to an anaconda choke. Kashimura defeats Tokoro in his penultimate fight. And when it comes down to Tokoro, I mean, I just have to ask, Dean, since you watched this probably with bated breath, hoping that the old man would get a lot more done, do you think that this, in fact, was the passing of the torch?
It kind of was. I mean, he's like the house grappler of that division, and for him to, you know, Kashimura looked the best he's looked to win with that choke right away. I think he kind of did kind of steal Tokoro's style there. Maybe he'll be known as like the submission guy at the lighter weights now.
So you actually see a future for Kashimura where he's just basically making guys tap left, right, and center?
Yeah, I think was it Goto he almost got as well with that same setup. So he's got some really tricky, really fast choke entries. Yeah, he could be that guy that's known as like the next like Aoki or Imanari, or like he might not win, but he's always got a chance to tap out anybody. So that could be his thing. He's a young cat. We might be seeing a lot from him for a long time now. You know who'd be a real fun fight for him? Would be the wrestler Oda, to see if he can get him down, because kind of the knock on submission guys, jiu-jitsu guys, is they're good on the ground, but they don't always have the takedowns or the wrestling to take someone down who doesn't want to go to the ground. I think, Kashimura showed that he had a real good double leg entry into this fight. Yeah, if he was to fight the wrestler, it'd be interesting to see if he could bring him down or if it would just be a snooze fest of a striking match.
And I mean, to be honest, you did say that he did have a close decision loss against Joji Goto. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between those two either.
Yeah, but like once the cat's out of the bag, once like he defends like his main attack, these kind of like gimmick grapplers, I don't know. It'd be interesting if he ends up winning the title, like that's maybe a title fight we could see someday. But I think since he defended his best move so far, I think in the rematch, Goto would probably beat him more decisively.
Via Twister?
Definitely not with a twister.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's a reason why I call Joji Goto Mr. Twister. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for him not to pull that damn move out, whenever he goes in for the kill. But still, though, let's go ahead and move on to what Ryzen Zone has to say about this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great look from Kashimura, and but as Dean said, I think he's really got what it takes to be the next submission guy. Very aggressive on the ground, very opportunistic in his submissions. Almost at Goto, and even in his last fight back in November in Landmark 12, he almost scored a submission. I think it was an armbar maybe that he almost succeeded, but it was up against Yuma Yasui, who is very good grappler, so he was able to escape, but that was really like by the skin of his teeth. So it was very close, and I think Kashimura is a very entertaining grappler. I mean, sometimes when he stays on the feet, is not the best, not his best look, but on the ground is very good, and it was a great performance by him. And when it comes to Tokoro, I think man, it's a retirement fight now, so I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think maybe a veteran would be good. Maybe someone like Mamoru Uoi, well, maybe a bit too much of a brawler. Someone like Amura, I don't know, but I mean, he needs. I think he needs a veteran to fully hang the gloves.
I mean, come to think of it, do you think that a guy like Masakazu, Ashikan Judan, Imanari would be better suited for him, even if he wasn't tied down to a contract with that damned one championship?
Yeah, I think it would be great. It would be great. Sadly, I don't think that that Chatri is gonna get him free from his contract hell yet. But if it's possible, I think it would really be a dope fight between two very entertaining submission grapplers.
I see. I mean, to be honest, that's the one fight that I think that would be exciting for all. I mean, again, it all depends on if Charity sits on Dong, basically lets Imanari out of his cage for one more fight, even though, let's face it, Imanari doesn't fight for 1FC. He's a grappler for 1FC. So I think there would be no problem for him getting a potential fight there. But still, though, only time will tell, I guess. Now let's go. Oh, Dean, you want to say something?
You don't want to see Kashimura fight Kawaluno?
That is the one fighter who, since Ryzen has started back in December of 2015, that I've been wanting to see fight in Ryzen at least once. I mean, because Kyle Uno fought in Dream, he fought in Pride, he wrestled in All Japan Pro Wrestling while doing his UFC shtick. I mean, the dude basically, it would be fun to see. Now that you mention it, Dean, it would be fun to see Kyle Uno, as in Caoluno. It would be fun to see him and Hideo Tokoro square off just one time, even if it is his final fight inside of a Rising ring or in mixed martial arts in general. That's a fun fight idea, Dean.
It'd be a good last one for both of them, since I think Uno fought last year at 50 years old and actually got a win. Tokoro's 48. If he fights again, I'll bust out. I've got some of the Kawal Uno Nike wrestling shoes. I'll bust out and take him to practice one day if I can find them.
Let me guess, you gonna shoot on the mat?
I'm not going to do anything else.
I see. And yeah, that would be, I mean, think about it. Hafid Darbaki, I hope you're listening. Shingo Kashiwagi, I hope you're listening. There needs to be an indefinite need for Kao Uno versus Hideo Tokoro, probably at Super Rising in August. Book it, please, or at least think about it in your plans. But still, though, let's go ahead and move right along to fight number 5 on the main card, and that is the Red Horse Kyung Pyo Kim knocking out Yusuke Yachi. 4 minutes 25 seconds at round number 2 via TKO due to a doctor stoppage. Now, when it comes down to this particular fight, I mean, I thought that Yachi was, fighting his ass off just to keep the fight interesting. But Dean, what happened to end this fight?
It looked like it was the elbows, from the top and then also from the bottom by the Red Horse that just you had to stop it. That cut was nasty. The Japanese don't love a lot of cuts and blood, but that would have been stopped anywhere. And yeah, maybe it's time for the Red Horse Kim Kyung Po to, he's picked up some wins in Ryzen now. Maybe it's time for him to get some bigger fights. So we might see him moving up. I think he's one of the better Korean prospects. And I forgot to pick up my fish ice cream to celebrate, but I'll make sure to send you some.
Hey, you might have to put that shit in dry ice, man. I would love to have some of that stuff. But still, though, and I hate to basically make this seem like a LeBron James style question, but considering that Yachi's been fighting for this promotion for the last 10 years, mostly, I mean, obviously, except for the 2 fights he had in Bellator or under the Bellator banner, supposedly, I mean, how will Yusuke Yachi's legacy be kept intact after this latest mishap?
He's the festival man. So, I mean, even if he only fights once, twice a year after this, just put him on, put him on the New Year show, put him on the Super Rising shows, just bring him back sparingly. I don't care if he fights debut guys. He's always going to be an action fighter. Give him some other old guys. If Pitbull loses, that's a good one you could make. Give him some of the domestic champions making their Ryzen debut. I think he's always going to be down for an exciting fight.
But here's the thing, though. Do you really want to turn him into a spectacle fighter, a circus fighter, or do you think that there's still at least a little bit of stroke left to have at least a decent prime in his career?
He's past his prime for sure, but even at his age, he's I think he's 35 now. He still looked really good. He looked great at the weigh-ins. He looked in great shape coming into the fight. He's just got a lot of wear and tear, a lot of miles on his body, but I think everybody knows him as somebody who's put in a lot of tenure for Ryzen and been part of some great highlights. So I think they can still keep him around, but he's not fighting for a title ever again.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. Now, Ryzen Zone, what say you? What were your overall thoughts about this fight before the stoppage happened?
Well, I thought that, first I was maybe a bit surprised that Yashi tried to get in the clinch as soon as the fight started. I thought that maybe he would want to test a little bit on the feet, but he did what he did. Finally, in the end, it's the Korean who took the better of it, getting his own takedown and getting this mean elbow on top, which opened the cut. But no, I think, well, Yachi was dominated in both components, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a horrible domination, and I think that he could have. He could have came back later in the fight. I mean, we saw in Kim fight against Spike Carlisle, he was dominating all the fights, and in the end, he got surprised by a submission in the second round. So I think that Yashi could have pulled the upset maybe, but the cut was ugly, and I think the doctor stoppage was legitimate. And as for Yates' futures, yeah, I think maybe continue giving. I think they should give him like indefinite Kai Bilal Aga rebound fights in order for him to get him keeping him as a gatekeeper. I think he's pretty good like that. It's gonna be his role nowadays. I think not fighting for a title, that's for sure. But I don't see him losing to like absolute cans either way. And for Kim, great performance. I mean, he's up there with the other Korean guy, Won Bin Ki, who fought Satoshi. I think they're both really, really good, and I think they can really do something in the lightweight division. So yeah, I think giving Kim maybe the loser or the winner for that matter between Oreo people would be good, and making him advance in the rankings. I think he deserves it.
I see. So here's the thing: when it comes down to Yachi, Dean says that Yachi should be continuing as a spectacle fighter. What say you? Do you think that Yachi should, think about possible retirement or something? I wouldn't say retirement. The dude's 35, but still, though, do you think that time is just near for him?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm a late bloomer, so I don't know if I'm really legitimate to say this because I didn't follow the residency at the beginning, so I didn't I don't have the full details. But it seems to me that Yachi is not really about like crazy wars and absolute brawls on the feet like he was before when he debuted in Brazil. So I don't think that's really his future being a spectacle fighter. I think he can maintain a decent ranking in Rising. As for retirement, I think it's still a bit too soon to think about it. I mean, he lost by a cut. It wasn't like crazy knockouts, which would give him like crazy issues. So I think he should persevere a bit. But I mean, if he starts to like, get a losing streak, maybe get two, maybe three losses by knockout in a row. I think then it would be a good idea to think about hanging the gloves.
I see. I see. Now, let's go ahead and move on to talking about the fight that really disappointed the hell out of me. In the case of, you know, personally, why didn't one of these dudes waste their time and talking to me? Well, actually, no. Why did one of these dudes waste their time in talking to me instead of just flying out to Japan? But I digress. Anyways, Shoko Sato knocked out, well, actually didn't knock out. He basically fucked up John Sweeney, via triangle choke submission, 4 minutes, 49 seconds of round number one. And I mean, to be honest, Dean, we mentioned this in the preview about Andy Hiraoka basically coming in to lose to Gary Antoine Russell on the Ryan Garcia undercard a few weeks back in Las Vegas against Mario Barrios. I mean, still though, point of the matter is that John Sweeney should have been in Japan instead of talking to me, talking to Andrew Benjamin, talking to Hafid Darbaki with the fucked up issues that a lot of people are basically saying have probably played this show right now. But still, though, it's like I said, Sweeney pulled an Andy Hiraoka and lost his first fight in 5 years and his first rounds in 5 years. I mean, if he is rising worthy, what's next for him if there's anything for him?
Yeah, that was tough to watch, especially because that was late Friday nights when the fight aired here. I just come from some training doing the Jeff Glover deep half guard, and I think for sure he could have gotten there earlier. But I think these fighters that fight most of their career in the cage, it's just a different game. The takedowns are different, the get ups are different, the whole ground game's different. So to watch, to work with white belts that when they're mounted are going right for deep half guard, going right for sweeps, And then watching fights and seeing pro fighters get mounted and have like no clue what to do in a ring, it was hard to watch. And I think that's more of his overall like long term development. When in the cage, you can just put your shoulders there and work back up. You're never going to be out in the open just getting pounded like that. So uh, his style didn't lend itself to a good ring style. I don't know if he would be too much too soon for a guy like Jolly, or maybe a guy like Kintaro could be a good scrap for him. He can still be in exciting fights for sure, but for him specifically to tell you he thought Shoko Sato's ground game was weak, and then he got mounted and beat up and triangled by him, it ends up not looking so good in retrospect.
It's basically telling me a lie when we know the truth. I'm not trying to basically shit on the man, but I'm just saying he knows his way around the farm. He knows how to scoop up shit when he sees it. So, in a way, I think that was just one bad bale that he basically had to, carry on his back. And I think that when it came down to this particular fight, again, he should have been there a little bit earlier. I know that he's got a couple of kids and he just wanted to say goodbye to them, but still don't. You should have done your job by getting used to the acclimation earlier. It just would have made sense for him to have a better fight plan instead of coming in on 3 days notice just to lose.
Yeah, but when you're at that stage in your career, fighting in LFA, do you have the financials to take like a week or two off or something like that? I know, sometimes, when UFC used to travel, when they would do a big show in Denver for a couple pay-per-views, I remember specifically like certain fighters coming out here with weeks in advance. Sometimes we'd get both fighters. We'd get both fighters in the matchup training at different spots in town, just getting used to training up here. And but they were also getting, probably a bigger purse than your LFA fighters used to getting. So sometimes it's not like a bad choice they make. It's just what your finances can allow you to do.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. In Tokyo, you don't have to deal with upper respiratory issues from being a damn mile high in the air. I mean, at least down here where I am in Texas, all we have to deal with, at least for the sake of my asthma, is, pollen and, grass issues. But still, though, it's just crazy how that fight even happened. And to be honest, I just wish Sweeney would have came out a little earlier. I can understand that he's a family man. A lot of people love him down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, but still though, that fight was disappointing. And if he does get booked for a future Rising fight, like you said, against Kintaro or against Ryoma Jolly Shishido, I hope that he can come back a better fighter, because this damn sure wasn't a good effort on his part, at least for a first go around.
Yeah, it didn't make a ton of sense. He was the one kind of engaging the clinch, which I thought wasn't the best for his striking style. And then, getting taken down and getting kind of controlled on the ground there without having like the best escape series. It was rough. It was a rough out, but maybe they can find him another interesting striker, maybe like a Japanese karate versus American karate would be pretty cool to watch. So he wasn't boring. I'll still like to see him fight and see what he can do in Rising.
True. Same here. Rising Zone, what say you?
Well, I think that's really, it was a terrible look. The stars didn't align for him, that's for sure. Between his inactivity, fighting outside of the US for the first time, fighting in a ring, the new soccer kicks rules. I mean, it was a bit too much, too quick, and I think that yeah. But even apart from that, I think it was the worst. I mean, from what I saw from his fight, I think it was the worst he ever looked. I mean, he was way too passive. I would have thought that he'd use his bouncing, pressure style to maybe put a bit more volume, maybe some more boxing entries, some more boxing combinations, but he didn't do none of that. And against a veteran like Shoko Sato, who has nearly 60 fights under his belt, you can just let him plan. You can't let him adapt to you because he's gonna do what he did. And yeah, it was a very clean performance from him, reminding everyone that yes, he is a top contender. I mean, only lost to champions Sabatello in Inoue. So I think yeah, it was a great look by Sato. And when it comes to Sweeney, I don't know. Yeah, I think giving him a lower, maybe Jolly is a bit too low. I don't know, but yeah, I think a Kid Taro fight would be great. And but maybe before that, letting him have a few more fights in the US. I mean, letting him build a win streak, maybe, or at least an activity streak, because right now I don't know if it was wing rust or injury or something, but yeah, he looked terrible.
Yeah, I see. But still, though, before we continue on, so, I mean, let's just say Shoko Sato, he might get an opportunity to fight Danny Sabatello again, this time with the bantamweight title on the line. You know, is he due for a rematch with Danny Sabatello, or should he win a couple more fights to prove that?
I think he deserves it.
I think he deserves it.
I mean, it's not the biggest draw in Japan. Sato, I mean, he's respected, of course, but it's not. He doesn't have that crazy name value. But I mean, the first part was very close. Split decision. He could have arguably went to Sato. So yeah, I think he deserved the rematch. Uh, I mean, of course, that's gonna depend on the result of the fight between Sabatello and Goto. But I think he deserved the title shot, and I really could see him becoming a champion against both fighters. So yeah, I think maybe he deserve it. Maybe if you absolutely want to make him fight one more, I don't really know who you can take. Maybe a fight against Inoue, revenge. But yeah, I think he deserves to be really at the top of the discussion for a title shot.
Understood. Dean, what do you say?
Yeah, that would be maybe a compelling matchup, win or lose for Sabatello. If he loses the title, um, that could be a title eliminator, or even if Goto loses, uh, Goto Sato could be good. Maybe he could fight the Fukuda Taramov winner. So I think maybe just one fight away from a title shot, kind of just depending on how the rest of the division shakes out.
I mean, holy shit, we did forget to talk about Aziz Taramov, right? Right?
Right? Yeah, he's matched with Fukuda now. Yeah, he replaced Doubtbeck, who has that medical condition, so he'll be out for a while. He was an interesting guy to have in the title picture, but he's got to get his health right, and hopefully he can make a recovery and we can see him again.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, obviously, let's just say this. That would be, I mean, a Shoko Sato versus Aziz Timirov fight would definitely be worth watching. And it would probably make Ramazan Bek Timirov, Aziz's brother, who now fights in the UFC, wonder, why did I not leave Ryzen? I mean, why did I basically leave Ryzen so soon? But still, though, that's another story for another time. We'll cross that bridge once we get there. Now, the next fight that we want to talk about, the third fight that started off this card. I mean, Michael Schiavello was so entwined in this fight card. I mean, in this particular fight. I mean, the leg kicks that TJ Laramie had on Takaki Soya. I mean, he had a line in the match that basically said, if fighters were like, I mean, if countries were like fights, TJ Laramie's leg kicks would be like China. I mean, like, my God, man. That line just basically proved that TJ Laramie, the wild man from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, is basically a star in the making, you know? He knocked out Takaki Soya. The official time of the fight, and I'm pulling it up right now. The official time, 2 minutes, round 3. But still, though, Dean, when you seen that fight happen, I mean, what was your overall thoughts about it? Did you see what Michael Schiavello was saying?
He looked great. Tony Laramie was the maybe the best performance we've ever seen from him. Um, he was setting things up. His movement looked great. His fundamentals looked great. Um, you think of some guys that are good strikers. Let's say like a Vanderlei Silva or Yuri Prohaska or Derek Lewis. They have impressive highlights, but if you had like a student that you were trying to teach striking to, and they were watching like a Yuri Prohaska highlight, you'd be like, oh no. If you had a student though that's wanting to learn striking and watches this fight and watches Tony Laramie, that's great. They're gonna pick up all kinds of like good stuff you can use. His footwork was great. His entries, his angles looked great. Um, he was setting up his leg kicks. He was throwing punches to the body. Even when he knocked him down uh, in the middle of one of those combos, he went to the body when he almost had him finished. So he just looked great all around. That's the best Tony Laramie we've ever seen. I was really impressed by his performance.
Damn it. I'm sorry. Kind of need to stop unmuting my microphone so soon. But still, though, point is, Laramie is saying that he wants a shot at Hiromasogi Kubo next. I mean, let's face it. Does that win warrant that opportunity?
I mean, in a vacuum against that opponent, yeah, that's the best you could do against that opponent. He had a good striker, a guy that that he knocked out that John Dodson couldn't even really knock out in that manner. So it looked great for him. I think he's going to still need one more. Maybe if Makoto Shinryu Takahashi wins his next fight, maybe Yuki Matoya, or even if they're trying to fast track Urson to a title shot. Urson's a guy that could test his wrestling, and Laramie could definitely get a good finish over him. So why not, right?
No, hell no. Nobody wants to see Urson Yamamoto get a title opportunity. The dude barely won his last fight. I mean, come on. If anything, I think that TJ Laramie were to face off against Urson Yamamoto, we know what the end result would be. It would be a fucking job show. Like, pay me type of shit. I just don't
Sometimes that's what you need. That's what you need, though. Maybe you need a couple highlights in a row. He's got one finish now. You get another incredible finish on, like, one of the feature fights, and then you promote that highlight over a well-known Japanese name, and the Japanese people start seeing it, and you can really build his next fight. Sometimes you need to know when to use enhancement talent, so to speak.
yeah, of course. Local athletes. But still, though. Rising Zone, I'm going to go ahead and get to you on this. I mean, we're saying that Tony Laramie has his future all in doubt. I mean, how soon do you think is too soon for Takaki Soya to return?
I mean, second losses by KO in a row for Soya. I think he needs to really take his time there. I mean, that was a bad look. I don't know why Soya was so like eager and fixed on trying to KO him. Like he was searching for a hard shot, but I mean, like Laramie was too technical for him with those beautiful like Dutch style kickboxing combinations with always the low kick at the end. Just messed up Soya's mobility and yeah, I mean Soya didn't really try for a takedown. I mean, apart from maybe some desperate attempts, but yeah, no, it was a great look by Laramie, and yeah, I think I mean I'm all for keeping Ersan Yamamoto out of not only the title picture but the entire organization for that matter. But no, I think that giving yeah Laramie against the Motoya would be great. I think he deserved it. Maybe not the title shot too soon, but Motoya would be cool. He showed great versatility in this fight, striking versatility. He showed great wrestling in his last in his precedent fight, the one before that. So yeah, I think Laramie is a complete fighter. He's got his shot against Motoya. And yeah, I mean, it was his first finish in Rising. Finally, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for him because he's been searching for it. But sadly, I mean, fighting Yuki Ito, the man has a great chin. You can KO him. So this was tough. But no, he finally got it. So happy for him. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that guy. Maybe maybe you sacrifice Joe Arai to him. I don't know. That would be a fun fight for sure. And yeah, but I really want to see him back because I mean, apart from a real enticing story, I would say that makes you root for him. He's a tough guy, very durable and very entertaining. So hope we see him soon.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand you on that. But the thing that probably surprised me the most about TJ Laramie, I mean, no, not, yeah, yeah not TJ Laramie, damn it. Tony Laramie, Anthony Tony Laramie, is the fact that, you know, in his previous couple of Rising appearances before this, he came out to a couple of old rock songs. I mean, he came out now to the now free man Fetty Wap, aka, you know, Mr. Got 17 shots on 38. You know, he came out to that and he kicked ass. Maybe in Harrington a new attitude or something. Just coming out to that particular piece of music, which really surprised the hell out of me because I thought that particular song he came out to, Trap Queen, was just lost in the 2010s or something. But I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to the last two fights of this fight card. And it'll probably beg me to ask the question about South Korean fighters in Rising and should they warrant another show. First off, Chung Kyung Lee, the Road FC flyweight champion, who probably should be awaiting the fight between Ji Young Yang and So Shul Kim, the rematch between those two. You know, he knocked out Joe Arai in a fight that really woke up the crowd, so to speak. And that fight that he won over Joe Arai, 3 minutes, 44 seconds, round number 3. Knee and punches, standing TKO, no 8 count needed, but still done. Jung Kung Lee, Road Up C, flyweight champion, really proved his dominance. Dean, what say you? What's next for him in either promotion?
Yeah, this guy really showed his fight IQ. He knew exactly what he had to do. He knew the only areas Joe Arai was dangerous, and he smothered him early. His conditioning looked great. He fought him from close range. Picked up his first Rising win, extends his winning streak to 4. I really like that Road FC matchup that they announced. So for him to get the winner of that, either back home or if they continue to do, there was a little bit of I don't want to say bad blood, but they always get heated when it's Japan versus Korea. Korean people really don't like the Japanese, ever since World War II when they tried to exterminate them. So
Now is that North Korea?
North Korea?
Yeah.
That was both. So they used to be one in World War II, and the Japanese took over. They did a lot of bad things. They Imperial Japan took over a lot of mainland Asia as well. So people would always ask, like, who would North Korea and South Korea unite to fight, and a lot of people guess the United States, and it's like no, it's Japan. They both hate Japan so much. So it's cool that they're doing business. I think a lot of the younger generation doesn't remember that, and they're more willing to do business and more willing to do these sports matches. But yeah, the Korea versus Japan theme is always huge. If they do another show in Korea, and they have him fight a Japanese fighter, that would be absolutely massive over there, especially since he like gets in people's faces and they have to separate him at the face off and stuff like that. So it was good. It was good to see him get a finish and kind of turn up the pace a little bit and show his conditioning, show that he can put guys away. So, but yeah, man, that fight with Kim coming up is a really good one. I wouldn't mind seeing, it's pretty rare. I want to see like a 5-round fight on like a regional scene, but that's one like local 5-round title fight I'd be pretty interested in.
I see. I think that everybody should be interested in watching Ji Young Yang versus Social Kim in Road FC. I think that's this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
We got to look that one up, but
I mean, I'm doing so right.
I think it's the same time of the Pancras show, no? Something like that. I'm not sure.
You know what? You're right, because Pancrase does have a show this weekend. I think it's like Pancrase 330, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, Road FC does have their upcoming show this weekend. That is Road FC 76 we're mentioning from the Jungchung Gymnasium in Seoul, South Korea. Unfortunately, we can't find a legal way to watch it, so, it really does suck balls to basically say we're hyped for this, but there's no way to legally watch it. Hopefully they'll come through in the clutch. Meanwhile, as far as Pancrase 361, that's coming up this weekend as well, March 14th. From the Yokohama Budokan in Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan. I think that fight card will be on the UFC Fight Pass. But still, though, before we get off into our tangents about that Rising Zone, you basically, considering the fact that you kind of butted in a bit, let's just ask this real quick. Did Joe Arai really show his first 2 rounds? In those first 2 rounds to be as durable as he can be? Or did he really get defeated that bad in the third to warrant that loss?
He started competitive, at least on the feet. First round, it was really good scrap. Joe Wright connected several times, landed some big blows. But he was headhunting too much, and I certainly wasn't expecting Lee to rely on Muay Thai clinch that much, but it certainly paid dividends for him. And yeah, it was a great fight. As always, Arai showed that he was very durable. Tanked a lot of strikes, especially all those knees to the head. I don't know how he survived that much. Lot of blows to the body as well, which left him very, very gassed. Couldn't use his wrestling, which he actually improved. Sadly, couldn't use it. But no, great show by Lee. Very sad for Arai, but he's the comeback king. So I'm just waiting for him to reach like 9 losses in a row in Rising, and then he's gonna get the double belt. So very excited for him. Just hope that at like 36 he will be able to fight again for that to happen. But no, great fight. And yeah, I really think that another event in Korea would be great. The what was it, Paradise City venue was great when they went last year. A lot of good fighters. You get Kyungpo Kim, get Won Ki, some Yuri Shim also, female fighters, plenty of good fighters. Also the one who killed Koji Takeda, I think his name was Yuk Minji. I think it was a brilliant knockout for sure. And yeah, I think an event in Korea would be great. Lot of good, of course, between Japan and Korea. Always drama. So yeah, I would be really excited to see that.
I see, I see. And before we continue, Dean, I think that Takashi is calling your bluff on that whole Japan hates South Korea and North Korea thing. Takashi is saying this is propaganda from the CIA tactics, war guilt information program. If you search through the internet, you know what the truths are.
Well, I lived there and talked to a lot of old Korean people, so I don't really care what the internet says. Um,
And he's also you say what he wants to somebody in front of your face. No comment.
I mean, it's pretty well documented what Imperial Japan did. But I think as the years go on, modern generations aren't. They're further removed from that. They're actually further removed from the Korean unification as well. There's not like a lot of people who still know and talk to people in North Korea. So the odds that's ever gonna that they care about that is just kind of less and less as things go on. You see them kind of developing their own modern culture and whatnot.
Understood.
But yeah, you don't bring up Japan around like super old Korean dudes. They get pissed off. The younger ones don't really care. They're like us. They kind of just they're into whatever they're into. But yeah, I think moving forward, like as the future goes on, definitely they're willing to work together and kind of put that in the past. You see, sports is a great way too to bring those cultures together and spread sport and find things that that unify us. And back when I don't know if Road was like the successor to Spirit MC, but that was the show that was there a long time ago. It looked so much like Pride. It was almost like a carbon copy of Pride. They even used the music. I don't know if legally they could do that, but they brought the fighters out. They did the big opening ceremony. They had soccer kicks allowed. So Spirit MC really felt like it was a smaller Pride show.
Yeah, I think they spiritual and road it. But still, though, enough about all that. I mean, we basically can talk all night about this, but we got one more fight to put over, and that is Noelle Narita knocking out, well, not even knocking out, submitting Bo-Mi Lee. 2 minutes, 7 seconds, round one, guillotine choke, opening up the fight card, proving her dominance. I mean, now she's 4-2 in overall MMA. I think this is her second Rising win, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, actually, yeah, it is her second Rising win because she fought in Rising 3 times already. She fought in Shudo 3 times already. And she competed on a K1 sanctioned fight card, the Japan Martial Arts Festival. I mean, the Japan Martial Arts Expo. But still, though, her in Rising, back-to-back submission victories against Moeri Suda at Rising Landmark 12 and against Bo-Mi Lee. I mean, it's like we mentioned at the beginning of at the tail end of the preview show, Dean. I mean, I just gotta ask, is Noelle Narita the future of Asian women's MMA that we talked about?
Might be too early to call her the future, but this was good matchmaking. It was a good developmental fight. It's kind of what she needed. She She scrambled well. She got that guillotine, kind of showed the diversity of her submission arsenal. Um, she still got thrashed to the ground though, even even by somebody who was not the better grappler. So I wonder if Lee Bomi's teammates just know her as being like insanely strong because she always gets the takedown and can get top position even when she shouldn't really technically, but she got reversed right away. Hung in there tough at the initial guillotine attempt, but it was pretty cool to see Noelle modify it a little and really elicit the tap out. So yeah, I think these are just the fights she needs to develop. Nothing too crazy, too quick, and uh, for Lee, maybe she needs to go back to Road FC. It's nice to see her have the heart and have like the intangibles that not everybody has, but the fundamentals just don't seem to be there yet. And if she's fighting for Ryzen, she's only going to get tougher opponents than that. So probably not going to go well for her until she fixes some of those deficiencies.
And that could basically lead me to ask you, Rising Zone, when it comes down to Bomi Lee's future. She is now 0-2 in Rising opposite 3 second round finish victories in Road FC. Aside from going back to Road, is Bomi Lee's future deemed Rising worthy?
I think it is. Yeah, I mean, she's not the youngest anymore. She debuted a professional MMA career pretty late, but I mean, she's still an entertaining fighter. I mean, she got this pressure style, heavy volume. She landed hard actually on Noel and was really dominating the beginning of the fights. So I think she's got potential still. But yeah, I agree with Dean on that. Let it grow, Maybe a bit more fight on the road FC. Maybe if she really wants to fight in Japan, maybe fight in Deep Jewels. I don't know, but she needs to get a bit more experience. But I think the the foundations are here for her to really grow into a strong fighter because, as you said, I mean, physical strength is insane, man. I mean, each time she's taking, even against Kate Lotus, which was like the the bigger fighter, like frame wise, she was able to really dominate her in strength in the clinch. So yeah, I think she's got potential. But yeah, just for now, maybe let it grow a bit more.
I see. And let's just say if you were playing matchmaker right now, who would you book Noel Narita against next?
Well, I think maybe it depends which you want to push forward, of course. But I think, I mean, she called out for Kate Lotus. Some might think it's a bit early. Actually, I think it could be fun. I mean, basically, maybe like the two most. I mean, if we exclude Rena and Oshima, maybe they're the two fighters that garner the most attention in Super Atomweight. I think for not very moral reasons sometimes. But yeah, I think it would be a good fight, and I think that Noel could win it. Uh, Obviously, we saw that Kato's defense against submission was good, but I think she maybe has a keys, and yeah, I think she should get a big name maybe.
I see, I see. I'm sorry, I was just a little distracted watching professional wrestling on my TV. But still, though, I guess we now got the entire fight card completed. But I do have a couple more, a few more questions to ask. The esteemed panel, so to speak. First of all, we just mentioned 3 Japan versus Korea fights on this fight card. KMMA fighters went 2-1 at Ryzen 52. Dean, I know you basically mentioned that, maybe Ryzen should have a fight card in Korea again. In South Korea again soon. But, how soon do you think that should happen? Because they already got the next 5 months booked.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, I don't think it's as extreme with the. There's like a hurricane season, like a cyclone season in Japan. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's as extreme like in Korea on the mainland. I think you can kind of do a show whenever. I mean, obviously the winters are pretty rough sometimes, but uh, the calendar year, I guess, really doesn't dictate it. So let some of these fighters heal up and uh, yeah, if they were to go like end of the summer or something, that could be cool. If they went to North Korea, they would have a sellout for sure because it would attendance would be mandatory, like in that pro wrestling show from so many years ago.
Yeah, I know. They had two professional wrestling shows over the course of the last 30 years. One was at the major stadium where they had 150,000 people and they packed that place over 2 nights. The other was for the late great Antonio Inoki and his Genome Federation, and they packed up a 10,000 seat arena over 3 nights. But still, though, I don't see a MMA promotion going to North Korea anytime soon or ever. Rising Zone, what say you? How soon will it be before Rising has a show in South Korea again? You need to unmute your mic, pal.
Ah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't think they plan to do it like right now because, as you said, there's probably the Super Rising in August. I think they would want to keep that in Japan, but I mean, according to Sakakibara, we get like one event every month this year, so there's plenty of time for that. And I think that this year we should have an event in Korea.
Mm-hmm. That would work well. I mean, just book that shit for September, you know? And another thing that I basically wanted to mention, you know, Pancrase, just like Road FC, Pancrase has a show coming up this weekend, Pancrase 361. And that show is going to be live on the Fight Pass from Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan. A person that I interviewed over the course of the last month or so is Rafael Coxinha Barbosa. First name spelled Rafael, initial, well, actually, nickname Coxinha Barbosa. I basically talked to him a lot about, his upcoming fight with Tatsuya Yambo Saika, who's going to be defending his lightweight King of Pancrase championship against Barbosa. Let's go ahead and, if we want to play matchmaker here, let's just say that Barbosa ends up defeating Yambo for that lightweight King of Pancrase title. If he wins that fight, should a possible opportunity in Ryzen be in his future? Dean, you first, then Ryzen Zone.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw how Yambo did, even on short notice in Ryzen. Uh, he's a killer, man. If you get by that guy and if you win the King of Pancrase title, yeah, that should be a no brainer. Sign this guy.
I see. Ryzen Zone, what say you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, from what I saw, I mean, he looks like really entertaining, and I mean, since they like they seems like they're pushing really for a Penquist guy to beat Zumagazi. So I mean, if he wins against Ida in April, I say put him against Rafael. Let him see if another Penquist champion can this time take him down. I mean, it sure would be an entertaining fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one more thing I basically want to ask, and this pertains to the upcoming Ryzen landmark card that's going to be taking place next month in Fukuoka. I mean, Ryzen Landmark 13, as of the time of this recording, is less than 4 weeks away. I mean, yeah, we gotta wait through a lot of shit just to basically be ready for this event. But still, though, from both of y'all's respective points of views, we already got 16 fights booked for this card, 12 in MMA, 4 kickboxing. What can fans hope to expect just from checking this card? No, wait, actually, no. Not 12 in MMA, 14 in MMA, 2 in kickboxing. Yeah, it's going to probably be a long card, but what can fans still hope to expect? As we will probably preview this card in the coming weeks.
This one looks really strong. I think there's a K1 show like the day before. Is that right?
I think so.
In Tokyo. So, and then you've got One Samurai like 2 weeks later. So they're pulling out all the stops. They're going to try to show that they're the best promotion in Japan because they've got this competition left and right. We're going to see 2 title fights. We're going to see maybe some potential title eliminators. We're going to see Bellator veterans making their debut in Ryzen. So I think it's going to continue the trend we saw on this show. Just a little bit more of it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, especially considering the fact that you look down the list of fights at Ryzen Landmark 13, and you see it's basically nonstop chaos, with the exception maybe of a few fights. But the 2 fights that are probably going to catch everybody's eyes is a rematch between Rajabali Shekdulayev and Yuta Kubo for the featherweight title, and Danny Sabatello defends his bantamweight title against Joji Goto. Now, Rising Zone, considering those 2 fights bookend the entire card, do you think that a lot of people are going to be looking to, spend their hard-earned money or waste their time just watching those 2 fights, or do you think they're going to be looking toward the rest of the card?
Of course, I mean, watching a live execution on TV is always something else. And I mean, with Live against Kubo, you can really expect something like that. Goto and Sabatello is a great fight. It's a great fight. Well, name value, of course, but I think it will be a very competitive fight. But I think the whole card is really balanced. We get some huge name value. Hagiwara is a huge draw in Japan and is fighting there. You got Fukuda, of course, which is only getting better and more popular. And we also got some local talents which are ready to compete. Especially some guy, Kodai Yamasaki, who's fighting. Like he's 10-5 and he looks great, man. Very flashy, karate style, some flashy knockouts. I think they really expect a lot of him. I think the Ryzen is really hoping for a big KO to launch his new prospects. And apart from that, we get an ex pro wrestler guy. We got some kickboxing. Now we got the whole card is huge. Even though, of course, 2 title fights is gonna catch the eyes of everyone. I think the whole card is really worth getting into and watching the entire thing.
Oh yeah, of course. But before we put a bow on this review, I just gotta ask, what was your fight of the night, and what was your? I mean, I know that fight of the night, submission of the night, knockout of the night is all varied, but there were 10 finishes on this damn card. I need y'all to at least pick 2 that y'all thought, were better than the rest. Dean, you first, then Rising Zone.
Man, that's a tough one because there were some great finishes. I mean, if we're gonna pick two of the best finishes, the main event, I loved Akamoto using the soccer kicks. He almost got a finish in the first round, and then we just got to see more of it, which was great. And then I'm gonna go with Tony Laramie. I thought he just looked so technical and so great top to bottom. Dropped his opponent, came in and finished with the groundwork as well. So really great stuff from him. I was really impressed.
Okay. You.
Well, my 2 personal finishes, apart from Akimoto, would be Yuki Ito, like just the flush, clean high kick, following with some huge ground and pound, and I think Shoko Sato. Actually, I mean the whole like cutting open with Sweeney, then the swift transition into a triangle choke. I think it was beautiful, and yeah, those two were absolutely mind blowing.
Okay, then I guess that leaves me. Well, I'm gonna, aside from the main event and the co-main event, I'm gonna basically disqualify those two because that should be everybody's favorite fights of the night, regardless of what card it's on. But I'm gonna just go ahead and just keep it strictly on the undercard for my two picks. My two favorite fights of the night were, I mean, let's just face it, Tony Laramie just beating the shit out of Takaki Sawyer with those leg kicks was phenomenal to watch. But also, my favorite undercard fight aside from that was Koshi Takeda getting the win over Viktor Kolesnik because, let's face it, dude done this on less than 72 hours notice. I mean, he was announced as a replacement as soon as we were done with the review. So we didn't have time to basically scramble back and talk about this, but still, though, it just shows that the element of surprise is definitely there when it comes down to stuff like Ryzen. And we need to at least be focused on that because you just never know what type of surprises a promotion like Ryzen and especially a fighter like Koji Takeda can bring. Now, are we all in agreement on that?
Yeah, hey, I had a quick question actually for Ryzen Zone on the next landmark. When someone dies in France and you go to their funeral, what do you wear? Do you wear like a black suit?
Yeah, usually it's very formal attire. And yeah, so I think I don't know if I got it there actually, but I got like a smoking from for a gala. So I think it should be a fitting attire for the Kubo Shadulai fight.
Yeah,
But, I mean, you never know. I mean, full of surprise. You never know. Kubo, like all these anti-immigration stuff. Maybe he's gonna get a boosted power and KO Shadulai. Who knows?
That's good. Yeah, we'll all get our suits pressed. Take our suits to the cleaners for the funeral of Yuta Kubo.
Yeah, it's so beautiful for sure.
Wow. That's just something else to even think about. That's another story for another time. But before we close out for this time in particular, I would just like to give y'all the opportunity to shamelessly put yourselves over. Ryzen Zone, you first.
Thanks. So yeah, I'm mainly active on my X accounts at Ryzen Zone. I'm mostly active in French, not gonna lie, but I also post in English from time to time. And I have a website, ryzen.zone.com. I have a list of Ryzen fighters there, some analysis, some articles also mainly that I try to publish in French and in English. So if you're interested, come check it out.
Oh, damn it. See, I gotta always unmute myself. But Dean, this would probably disqualify me from asking how can fans get in touch with you? Because again, like you said, you do not have much social media other than your Instagram account, which is American Gi-Jitsu.
Americana Geese. Yeah, named after the shoulder lock. But if you have any questions, just shoot them to Focus Fights and they'll relay them to me. Or otherwise, you got to come see me at Open Mat. Bring your gi.
I'm pretty sure they'll be willing to take a drive or take a flight into Denver and travel up to Greenlee, Colorado just to see you, huh?
Yeah, you got to wait till I'm healed up, though. So then I can train again and I can go lose a quintet match to Saku Jr. or something.
Oh, right, because you are on the mend because of your torn bicep, right?
Um, rotator cuff, but yeah, same thing. Get broken off a lot training, so I'm old
Right.
now. Right. So what happens?
Understood, understood. So I guess that leaves me. Well, I mean, I thank y'all for listening and tuning in, but mostly just checking out the product of what we have in store, or what we at Focus Fights have in store. Promoting Rising and being one of the few people that can actually tell it like it is, not like what it was when it comes down to this promotion, and not basically use this promotion as a way to, you know, put over shit for clicks and giggles, like some influencers who just basically use this as a way to basically get their fucking kicks up. I mean, I'm talking to you directly, Crazy Keb. You can go fuck yourself. But still, though, when it comes down to, Ryzen, obviously we got to mention again, next Ryzen event you'll see is Ryzen Landmark 13 in Fukuoka. That will be April the 12th, in the late night hours of April the 12th. And that will be live on Ryzen.tv. It's the week before WrestleMania if you're a professional wrestling fan. So, hey, at least you'll have something to look forward to just to get your kicks before you see some guys in spandex get thrown into a ring. Well, guys and girls in spandex, but still, though, I can't judge. But still, though, point of the matter is if you want to check out more of what Ryzen has in store, you can check them out on all forms of social media. Just search up Ryzen Fighting Federation into your Google or search bar URL or whatever. And if you want to check out more what Focus Fights has in store, you can check out our Linktree page, which is in the description of the audio if you're listening, or in the description of the video. You're going to have to wait until after it gets done in post. But other than that, you can check out what I have in store, in my particular platforms in the description below. Other than that, we're about to go ahead and sign off. As I always say, peace, my people, in one love world. Protect yourself at all times. Keep fighting, because you'll never know who might hear your story. I mean, to be honest, this was a pretty fun review that Ryzen's on and Dean Burley has done with me, and I hope that we can do more of these together. But still, though, as we basically close out every show, it's like the great Lenny Hart always likes to say. Hold on one second. If the great and if Jay Wolf was on here, he would always say, "Pride never die. Pride is rising." And of course, that would be a reminder for you to check out Andrew Benjamin on the podcast bearing those same three words that Lenny Hart just said, the We Are Rising podcast. But still, though, that's about it from us for now. We thank y'all for listening. We thank y'all for watching. We hope y'all check out more of what we have in store at Focus Fights Audio, or, I got a future episode coming up that'll talk about a hell of a lot more than just Rising. Like I said, I got an interview with Rafael Barbosa coming up, but I also got an interview with two fighters that'll be fighting on one of probably the most controversial and talked about shows coming out the Midwest that'll be happening this weekend. But the episode probably won't be coming out until next weekend. So, be on the listen for that. But that's gonna do it for us for now. Thank y'all for watching. Peace, and we out. Talk to y'all later.